The council chamber floated in the silent void above the luminar cluster, its walls lined with the banners of countless species, each more imposing than the last. Delegates whispered and gestured, their alien forms bristling with authority and caution. At the center of their discussion sat humanity, represented by Ambassador Kalen Rowe, who looked entirely unremarkable compared to towering Zalari generals, serpentine Vryn diplomats, and luminescent Zainari scholars. Yet there was a quiet intensity about him, a calm that made even the most confident delegates pause. "Humans are clever," one Zalari muttered to his neighbor, "but hardly a threat. Their fleets are small, their strategies primitive." "They survive," the Vryn replied with a flick of a clawed hand. "Barely. I see no reason for alarm." Kalen listened in silence, his expression neutral, his mind cataloging every nuance. Humanity had endured centuries of observation, manipulation, and provocation by countless alien species, and had responded with patience, diplomacy, and restraint. Every insult, blockade, and challenge had been noted, measured, and stored. The galaxy believed this patience was weakness, but Kalen knew better. Outside the chamber, human fleets orbited distant colonies, unassuming yet precise in their patrols, their movements almost casual. The aliens assumed these fleets were symbolic, merely a presence without the capacity for true force. But humans had learned over generations that restraint was a weapon in itself. Kalen reviewed the reports of recent provocations: mining colonies sabotaged, settlements threatened, communication arrays disrupted. The galaxy had believed such acts would bend humanity to their will. Instead, humanity's patience held, tested but unbroken, like a taut bowstring ready to release. As the council continued debating, Kalen's thoughts were elsewhere. The galaxy underestimated humans at its peril. They did not yet understand that patience was finite, and when it finally snapped, no species would ever forget the consequences. The calm before the storm stretched outward, but humanity was ready. The first reports reached the Interstellar Council like a ripple through calm water. Alien scouts had observed coordinated attacks on human colonies across multiple systems, resource theft, sabotage of infrastructure, and small-scale assaults designed to intimidate. The attacking coalition believed they had calculated perfectly, assuming humans would respond cautiously, or at most, defensively. They had misjudged the species entirely. Ambassador Kalen Rowe stood on the bridge of the Resolute, observing the situation with cool detachment. Sensors indicated multiple hostile fleets converging on human settlements, yet the humans remained calm, their movements precise and deliberate. Drones monitored the assaults, noting patterns in enemy tactics, weaknesses in fleet formations, and the predictable overconfidence of the coalition. To an observer, humanity seemed almost passive, but this was no ignorance, it was strategy. Small human response teams acted quickly to neutralize immediate threats, not with overwhelming force but with surgical efficiency. Supply lines were rerouted, critical infrastructure was protected, and patrols countered enemy scouts with minimal engagement. Alien species watching from orbit assumed these responses indicated hesitation or indecision. They could not see the method in the restraint. As the days passed, the provocations intensified, entire colonies were targeted, communications jammed, and minor skirmishes flared into deadly encounters. Yet humanity continued to respond with measured precision, calculating, observing, and learning from every encounter. Their fleets struck only when necessary, conserving strength, and recording enemy behavior for future use. By the time the coalition believed it had exhausted human patience, it had actually underestimated the quiet storm building behind it. Every attack, every provocation, had been noted and catalogued. Humanity's patience was not weakness, it was preparation. The aliens believed they were shaping the humans, bending them to fear. Instead, they were building the perfect conditions for a response that would be swift, devastating, and unforgettable. The galaxy had no idea that the tipping point was imminent. The day humanity finally snapped began with a whisper across the void, a single fleet quietly leaving its station to intercept enemy forces. To alien observers, the movement seemed routine, almost cautious. But within moments, the true scale of humanity's response became apparent. Entire star systems lit up as human fleets executed a perfectly coordinated counterstrike. Warp points, once thought secure by the hostile coalition, were struck simultaneously. Supply lines collapsed under precise interdictions. Alien commanders watched in disbelief as fleets, previously deemed small and manageable, maneuvered with speed, precision, and ruthless efficiency. Humanity's tactics combined intelligence, innovation, and audacity. No other species had ever demonstrated such synchronized lethality across multiple systems. Planets that had been under siege were liberated almost instantly. Orbital defenses, sabotage networks, and rogue warships were neutralized with minimal collateral damage, but maximum psychological impact. Alien fleets, accustomed to drawn-out campaigns and attrition warfare, found themselves outmatched at every turn. The humans' patience, observed for centuries and assumed to be weakness, revealed itself as an unparalleled weapon. In the command centers of the hostile coalition, confusion reigned. Predictions failed, strategies faltered, and morale crumbled. Alien leaders realized far too late that every provocation, every attack, every assumption of control had been catalogued and turned against them. Humanity did not merely retaliate. They obliterated entire operations with a precision that seemed almost preternatural. Ambassador Kalen Rowe watched the unfolding events from orbit, calm yet alert, as reports streamed in. The galaxy's misjudgment of humanity had never been so brutally exposed. The day marked a turning point. Restraint had become a weapon, and its release was catastrophic. Alien species would remember this moment for eons, a testament to what happens when humanity, long underestimated, finally unleashes the full force of its ingenuity, resilience, and calculated fury. The universe would never be the same. The aftermath of humanity's Counterstrike left the galaxy in stunned silence. Star systems that had once teetered on the brink of chaos now breathed a cautious calm, but the memory of the devastation lingered like a shadow. Alien fleets withdrew, fractured and humiliated, their commanders scrambling to comprehend the scale and precision of humanity's response. What had seemed like a simple act of provocation had revealed the true scope of human capability. Ambassador Kalen Rowe stood on the observation deck of the Resolute, looking out at liberated colonies and repaired orbital stations. Human engineers and medics moved with quiet efficiency, repairing damage and restoring order, yet the efficiency of their efforts only deepened the impression that humanity was a force unlike any other. Alien observers recorded every detail, their skepticism replaced by awe and a tinge of fear. The galaxy began to rethink centuries of assumptions. For generations, humans had been underestimated, dismissed as fragile, chaotic, or primitive. Now every species knew the truth. Humanity's patience was not weakness, but a measured strategic power. They could endure, adapt, and survive, but when pushed beyond the brink, they struck with a precision and ingenuity that no other species could match. Trade routes reopened under the watchful protection of human fleets, diplomatic channels were reevaluated, and military doctrines across the stars were rewritten in response. Stories of the day humanity snapped spread quickly, a cautionary legend that would be cited for centuries. Alien civilizations understood that they had underestimated a species whose resilience, intelligence, and adaptability were unparalleled. And yet, humanity itself remained calm. There was no celebration, no boastful triumph, only quiet efficiency, readiness for the next challenge. The lesson had been delivered without arrogance. Underestimate humans at your own peril. The galaxy had learned, definitively and irrevocably, that patience was a weapon, and when humanity finally snapped, no species or civilization would ever forget the consequences. Humanity had earned respect, fear, and a place as a dominant, unparalleled force in the cosmos.